I'm Toyota.
And I'm Jamaica.
And welcome to Nick News. Today we'll be discussing the ethnic theory of plane crashes, the 7th chapter in the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
This chapter generally talks about the people who do not fit into the crowd and are outliers. Our chapter talks about airlines that crash because of human error.
This chapter focuses on one incident with Avianca, a Colombian airline, and multiple accidents with Korean Airlines. Avianca Flight 052 crashed just outside of New York City due to no fuel, and the other flight we'll be focusing on is Korean Airlines Flight 801.
Here's live action footage of what happened on the Avianca flight, which crashed in New York. Don't ask how we got it.
Hey, Tower Delta 192, the passenger is mostly naked running across runway 27 right at Tango.
Okay, you find a way to deal with that. Avianca 052, runway 22 left, wind 090 at 20, clear to land.
Yeah.
Clear to land runway 22 left, Avianca 052.
The runway, where is it? I don't see it. I don't see it.
Executing missed approach, Avianca 052.
Avianca 052, roger, climb and maintain 2000, turn left heading 180.
We don't have enough fuel.
Avianca 052, turn left heading 150.
That's right to 150 on heading in. We'll try again. We're running out of fuel.
Tell them we're in an emergency.
Yes, sir. I already advised them.
Avianca 052, climb and maintain 3000.
Advise them we don't have fuel.
Climb and maintain 3000, and we're running out of fuel, sir.
Did you already advise them that we don't have any fuel?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna vector you 15 miles northeast and turn you back on approach. Is that okay with your fuel?
I guess so. Thank you very much.
What did he say?
The guy is angry.
How bad is the situation?
Flame out on engines number 3 and 4.
Show me the runway.
Alright, so that was weird. So I'm pretty sure you can see what was wrong. If you didn't, then watch it over again. For the first thing, the pilot, at least First Officer Klotz, didn't use the word emergency. He was almost leisurely with his talk, using phrases such as, we'll try again, and we're running out of fuel. There is no urgency in this call to the ATC, especially because Klotz never uses the word emergency. This word lets the ATC know the situation is dire. The book stated, according to another controller who handled Flight 052 that night, Klotz spoke in a very nonchalant manner. There was no urgency in his voice. But why did this happen? Shouldn't Klotz have spoken up and done everything he could to get the plane on the ground? The answer to this question goes a lot deeper than fatigue or other typical causes of plane crashes. But first, let's review our other crash, Korean Airlines Flight 801. Unfortunately, we don't have live action footage of Korean Airlines Flight 801, so I will be describing it. Korean Airlines Flight 801 departed Seoul at 10:50 at night en route to Guam. In command was Captain Park Young-chul, First Officer Song Kyung-ho, and Flight Engineer Nam Suk-hoon. The plane is a Boeing 747, much younger than the Boeing 707 that was used in the Avianca crash. They arrived in the Guam airspace around 2 hours later and set up for landing on runway 6 left. It's important to note the weather was very similar to that of Avianca 052, rainy with low visibility. As they neared the airport, it became rather evident the runway was not in sight. The first officer inquired towards the captain, "Not in sight?" 3 seconds later, the first officer said, "Let's make a missed approach." At this point, the flight engineer spoke as well. "Not in sight, missed approach," in order to further pressure the captain to make a missed approach. Another 3 seconds later, the flight engineer commanded, "Go around," which is another term for a missed approach, generally used when in closer proximity to the ground. Finally, the captain responded, "Go around," but it was too late, and his plane crashed 3 seconds later into Nimitz Hill, 3 miles southwest of the airport. It had been a total of 12 seconds after the first officer issued for the captain to go around. So, why weren't they able to go around? There was plenty of time, and why did the captain wait 9 seconds before finally trying to pull the plane up?
Now, you might not see it now, but each of these flights have one thing in common, and it's not necessarily due to weather. A large overlooked factor is power distance cultures, or PDI. Power distance culture is how people might react to their superiors. Airline safety and crash records demonstrate this very well. Having a low PDI means you view yourself as equal to your superiors. Yet if you have a high PDI, you might view yourself as lower than your superior. Let's say, for instance, it was United Airlines with low fuel JFK instead of Avianca. These U.S. pilots would have a much lower PDI, meaning they believe they are equal to that of the New York controllers. The Avianca pilots are Colombian, and Colombia has a relatively high PDI. This will explain why the pilots, especially Klotz, use phrases such as,
I guess so. Thank you very much.
What did he say?
The guy is angry.
when their plane was moments away from crashing, but a low power distance culture will view the ATC as equal. In the text, Suren Rati is a pilot and is a human factors researcher. He said, "Look, no American pilot would put up with that. They would say, 'Listen, buddy, I have to land.'" This also relates to the Korean Airlines Flight 801. It's important to also know that Korea has a high PDI, just like Colombia. First officer and the flight engineer assumed the captain would hear something such as, "The weather radar has helped us a lot," and think it means, "This is a night where you can just use your eyes to land the plane. Look at what the weather radar is telling us. There's trouble ahead." But because the engineer only hints at the weather radar, the pilot does not know the magnitude of the situation. So when the first officer engineer finally told the pilot to go around, they were too late because they only hinted at the idea. Reluctantly, a former American Delta pilot, David Greenberg, helped Korean Airlines by making them more like a Western firm, such as the USA. This helped with knowing how to act in the case of an emergency by actually telling the superior what's going on. He did this through teaching the aviation language, or English language, and taught the pilots how to perform different roles on the airplane. Now Korean Airlines has turned things around, and has a spotless record since 1999. The purpose of this chapter is to show how different ethnicities and power index cultures are very important, especially in aviation where communication is critical. There is a reason why the majority of plane crashes occur when the captain is in command, because the captain isn't afraid to speak up and tell the first officer what to do in an emergency. This also relates to outliers and how some people in a higher position might gain or lose more respect depending on their peers' ethnicity. The central idea you should take away from this chapter is that cultural legacy can affect many things. This is Nick News, and we wish you all a good day.